Hello children. In this video lecture, we are going to learn chapter 1 of Beehive. Our unit 1 is The Fun They Had, written by Isaac Asimov. Let's take a look about our author. Isaac Asimov was a Russian-born American author, a professor of biochemistry, and a highly successful writer, but known for his works of science fiction and for his popular science books. He edited more than 500 books and an estimated 90,000 letters and postcards. Along with science fiction, he had written hundreds of short stories. His Nightfall social science fiction grabbed the award of the best short science fiction story. Asimov also wrote mysteries and fantasy as well as much non-fiction. Let's get an idea about the chapter. In this chapter, the author tries to tell us about the classrooms and schools of the future. They will be generally automated with robotic or mechanical teachers. The story describes the feelings of two students about the school of the past. They loved the schools of the past and wanted to be part of that. They rejoice at the feeling of being taught by a human teacher. They expect the fun of being together with other children of their age. The story we shall read is set in the future, when books and schools as we know them will perhaps not exist. Then the question arises in our mind, how will children study then? You will get the glimpse of that classrooms maybe through this picture. Children, as per current scenario, we are not able to go to school. We do not know when we will go to school. Children, can you imagine 3 things that you like best about your school? You need to understand 2 terms. Virtual reality. It refers to a reality created by a computer software. And second is virtual classroom. Virtual classroom is not a real classroom but one where learning is through computer software or the internet. Here we need to understand these 2 terms very clearly in our mind. Children, this you are experiencing now, but here they talk about the robotic teacher. Children, you are fortunate enough that you are learning with real teachers and sharing various emotions, feelings, expressions, ideas, etc. along with your teacher in your classroom. Let's get an idea about our main characters of the chapter. Margie, a girl of 11 years who wished to be a part of the schools of the past. Tommy, a boy of 13 years who lives close to Margie's mother, a lady who was very disciplined and was careful about the hours of study of her daughter. Her name is Mrs. Jones. County inspector, a round little man with a red face who comes to repair the mechanical teacher at Margie's home. Explanation and summary of the chapter with meanings I have given for your reference here. Please do not bother that you do not have textbook. If you have it, then well and good, but if you do not have, then I have given here your explanation of chapter along with text summary of the same passage with its meaning. Please refer each word and write meanings in your notebook along with question answer which I have given you in the end of the explanation. Here is summary of our first passage. In the every summary you will get a number because in every textbook passage wise even our textbook numbers are given. So in summary you will get also numbers. On the page dated May 17, 2000, 157. Margie wrote excitedly in her journal about an amazing discovery. Tommy found a real book. Today, Tommy found a real book. The book was exceptionally old. Margie remembered her great grandfather told her once about how his grandfather used to tell him about a time long, long ago when stories were printed on paper with ink. Margie and Tommy flipped through the book, fascinated by the yellow and crinkly pages. The children could not believe that the words did not move like they do on a computer screen. It was especially bewildering to Tommy and Margie that when they turned to back to a page that they had already read, it still had the same words on it as when the children read at the first time. This short story is set in the future in a world where ebooks, or we can say telebooks, have completely replaced print media. We can say now we are in the mid of this kind of future. We are using both printed books as well as ebooks. But in this story, these kids, they have not seen any printed book. If an antique, it's an antique thing for them. An actual antique book holds a special fascination for the children as a relic of the past, and their amazement is ironic considering the reader is likely encountering the story on a printed page. Here, writer also shows the advancement of telebooks. It also holds unique value. It has the ability to preserve the past unchanged by any outside influences. Tommy believed that the book is a waste and people must have thrown the books away after reading them. Tommy, amazed at the fact that his television at home had at least 1,000,000 books on it and he would never dream of throwing it away. Margie agreed too. She was 11 and had not seen as many telebooks as 13-year-old Tommy. Margie asked Tommy where he found the book. Busy in reading, Tommy pointed to his house without looking up and told Margie he found an attic. Margie further asked about the subject of the book. Tommy replied in short that the book was about school. They both were living in that world which is full of information. The idea of containing only a limited information found by both of them silly and old-fashioned. They immediately thought to dispose or to dismiss or throw away that book. They did not count it valuable. They lived in the world where information changes constantly. Tommy found the book in attic. It means a place which is considered old and largely worthless in Tommy's family. Margie could not imagine anyone wanting to write a book about school because she hated her school and her mechanical teacher a lot. Her school was not a living being. Her teacher was not a living being, and she has not the same building like old students. He was an image that flashed on her screen in her study room. The teacher was an image, right? Here he means teacher. He gave her test after test in geography and she was not doing well. Her mother was upset by the poor performance and finally called the county inspector, a mechanic who came to find what was wrong. In the world of the story, classroom schooling has been completely replaced with individualized mechanical instructors that each child separately at home. I feel very sad that Uh, Children, now you are experiencing the same due to COVID-19 pandemic. This system is designed to provide personalized education for each student. Dependence of humans on machines shows us that they living in computer driven world. This shows us that books and teachers have been discarded in favor of digital alternatives. It indicates that these are worthless for that period, but we can say firmly that there is no replacement for human expertise. When we study in the class where you can connect with words of teachers through eye contact, gestures, and emotions. But here you are experiencing same like Margie and Tommy. You have to connect yourselves only using your hearing experience. The county inspector was a small, plump man with a red face and a toolbox filled with dials and wires. When he came to fix Margie's mechanical teacher, he smiled pleasantly at Margie and gave her an apple before taking the teacher apart. At that time, Margie had hoped that the county inspector would not be able to put her mechanical teacher back together again, but within an hour or so, Margie once again faced with her teacher's large, black, and ugly screen where it displayed lessons and questions. Margie hated more than anything was filling out her homework in punch code. Put her homework and test into the slot that allowed her teacher to grade all her work instantly. Margie dislikes her lessons provided by the mechanical teacher as she finds the mechanical machine impersonal and unfriendly. Here, mechanical teacher is designed to be more efficient and personalized than a live teacher to provide a better educational experience. But here we can see total positive effect of this teacher on the student. Margie found her work burdensome, a lack of personal connection with the teacher and other students. When he was done fixing the mechanical teacher, the county inspector smiled at Margie again and patted her on the head. He told Margie, Margie's mother, Mrs. Jones, that nothing was wrong with the girl, rather, the screen was too fast for the girl, and therefore Margie was having troubles. The inspector changed the lessons to a 10-year-old level and told Mrs. Jones that Margie's overall work was satisfactory. He patted Margie's head one more time before leaving. Margie was extremely disappointed. She was hoping that the county inspector would take her teacher away altogether, just like they had taken Tommy's teacher for almost a month when its history sector had blanked out completely. Margie asked Tommy why anyone would want to write about school. The kindness of county inspector shows us that human contact is very important for child's development. His interaction with Margie creates an ironic difference between the smiling human and the emotionless computer. When county inspector left, Margie was disappointed. That showed her fear and hard work of learning without other people. Tommy called Margie stupid and arrogantly explained that it was a different kind of school that they had hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Margie's feelings were hurt, and she admitted that she did not know what kind of school existed so long ago. Reading the book over Tommy's shoulder, Margie said that the only thing she knew about school in the old days was that they also had a teacher. Tommy explained to her that, of course, they had a teacher, but it was not a regular teacher, but a man. Margie was baffled and did not understand how a man could be a teacher. Tommy explained her that a teacher taught them various subjects and based on it he asked questions and gave them homework. Margie lives in that society where to appoint mechanical teachers is a norm. Margie had no idea of how schooling might have been different in the past. The mechanization of learning made traditional classroom learning out of date. It has effectively erased the record of alternative methods that came before it. The book here offers a rare glimpse into a past way of living and learning that has been thoroughly devalued and eradicated from Tommy and Margie's society. Margie was confused how a human could be teacher. Margie believed that a man could never be smart enough. Tommy insisted that his father knew nearly as much as his teacher. Margie was not in a mood to argue, but she was not able to understand why anyone would let a strange man come to their house and teach. Tommy burst into laughter and mocked Margie for not knowing much. He explained that the teachers did not live in the house, but all students went to a special building with all the kids from the neighborhood. Tommy further explained that students in the old days learned the same things if they were the same age. Margie was confused over how a human could be a teacher. This shows us how she has grown up in a world where machines can provide virtually unlimited information. It also suggests us that Margie did not believe that she herself could ever have enough knowledge or wisdom to teach someone else better than a computer could. The mechanized education system of them had not only robbed their fun but also their full potential of cooperation with others and develop intellectually. Margie found that confusing because her mother always told her that a teacher has to be adjusted to fit the mind of each boy and girl it teaches and that each kid has to be taught differently. Annoyed, Tommy told Margie that school did not work that way back in past and suggested if she did not like it then she should stop reading that book. Margie quickly replied that she never said that she did not like it. She wanted to keep reading about the strange school. Before Tommy and Margie were even halfway through the book, Mrs. Jones called her daughter inside for school. Margie did not want to go to school, but the mother insisted that it was time for Margie and probable for Tommy too. Margie eagerly asked Tommy if she could read more of the book with him after school. For Margie, school means individualized instruction, and she finds it difficult to imagine the possibility of going to school with other children. Children, you are habituated with physical books and traditional classrooms learning, but for these children, these things are not normal. They used to learn alone in one room with their mechanical teacher. This shows us their less interest towards this idea of traditional learning. When Margie and Tommy both went their separate way their school, that highlighted how mechanized method of schooling isolated children from one another. When Margie showed her eagerness for reading a book, to that Tommy replied in short, maybe. Only he walked away with the old book beneath his arm. Margie went into her schoolroom, which is right next to her bedroom. The mechanical teacher was already waiting for her. Margie used to study at the same time every day except Saturday and Sunday because Mrs. Jones believed that little girls learn better if they learn at regular hours. The mechanical teacher lighted up and began a lesson on fractions, asking Margie to first insert yesterday's homework into the slot. An interesting feature of the mechanical teacher is the ability to deliver lessons at any time of day for their particular student. This again shows us how schooling has become more individualized, portrayed by the writer, which is absolutely different from the unique method of classroom teaching. Margie unwillingly put her homework in, but she was not thinking about fractions at all. She was too busy imagining the old schools from the book, wondering what it would have been like to attend school back when her grandfather's grandfather was a small boy. She saw daydream of all the kids from where the entire neighborhood going to school together, working together, and playing and laughing together during recess. She wished for the ancient schools where the teachers were real people and all students learned the same thing and helped each other with their homework. Meanwhile, the mechanical teacher beamed on about fractions, but Margie was not paying attention. She was too busy thinking about how the kids must have loved it in the old days. She was thinking about the fun they had. During the repetitive and emotionless lesson, Margie found herself longing for the kids of school where she could learn from human instructors and, more importantly, be with her friends. The story ends with an ironic note, the fun they had, which indicates us the dark consequences of our futuristic world that has forgotten our traditional group learning and books for a more mechanized and individualized system. Margie's wish for the olden days learning pattern encourages young readers like you to view your own education system with pride and gratitude. Children, I have given here your textual exercise question answers with introduction. Please write down each and every question answer with neat and legible handwriting in your fair notebook of English and revise it properly. Here I have included all question 1, 2 and 3. In third, first and second, fourth, first and second I have given answers only. Please write it down. Thank you. Revise and